Yeah. I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric, baby, when I turn it on. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying up the ceiling when we're in our zone. I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. Feel that hot sun in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Do my life so way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights where everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm dancing it close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. And I can see with you when you dance. Feeling good dancing here with you. So just dance. All the things I say to you when you dance. Ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing. Just dance. Ooh, it's something magical. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. Don't need no reason, don't need control. I fly so high, no feeling when I'm in my zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. Feel that hot blood in my body when it drops. Ooh, I can't take my eyes off it, moving so phenomenally. Do my life so way we rock it, so don't stop. And under the lights where everything goes, nowhere to hide when I'm dancing it close. When we move, well, you already know. So just imagine. And I can see the you when you dance. Feeling good dancing here with you. So just dance. All the things I say to you when you dance. Ain't nobody leaving, so keep dancing.
Amen to that. When you made it to the end of the week, all you can do is dance, right, folks? Wow. Hey, Cam, TGIF, buddy. Thank goodness it's Friday. Hope everybody had a great week of e-learning today. What is this? Is this like week 4? It seems like we've been doing this a long time. I think we're like halfway to the end of the year. What is today? Today's the 24th. So we've got less than a month of e-learning, and then you get to enjoy just summer break. You don't have to do work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I know you're sad. It's going to be okay. We'll have school again in the fall, hopefully in person at that time. So it's amazing the things we have to do to keep everybody safe. But you are doing a great job. You're doing a great service to your community by staying in, staying safe. Morning to Cam. I'm guessing the Bacaller family's on here. Maybe even some Sorenciones out there. So welcome. Glad you joined us as we pick up the story of Rowena Jervis, who has somebody who seems to be planted in her grove of trees. And it's interesting. Did you notice how her feelings about Henry Piper maybe started to change based on Henry's actions? Interesting. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. And I think there may be some clues about Adam Fisk if you listen carefully today. So let's just jump right in, shall we? And then I wished on the card that Henry'd put roots here in Coventry. But that's all I meant. But all I meant was for him to stay put and not be a traveling man anymore. Instead, he's got real roots and he's stuck. So this is her, remember, Sam came upon him, and she's probably explaining now what happened to Sam. Rowena barely finished telling Sam and Henry about Thaddeus's blend's magic before she burst into bitter tears. Oh, Sam, what am I going to do? But neither Sam nor Henry was listening. Sam was looking at Henry like he was seeing a dragon or an ogre or some other mystical beast. And Henry was staring with fear and trembling at his own bark-covered ankles. Henry did put down roots, real ones, just like you asked for, said the awestruck Sam. Magic, that's the only thing that could have done this. Just like Polly Kemp's croaking, said Rowena. She got one of them cards too, and it must be the same magic that... Never mind it, Polly Kemp. Henry's voice was like the rustle of wind through leafy branches. What about me? I'm the one who's stuck here. And it's getting worse all the time. Bark's creeping up my legs. I'm getting stiffer and stiffer. Food seems to be coming to me from the roots growing out of my feet, and now it's getting hard for me to talk. Sam, Rowena moaned. He's turning into a tree, said Sam. Rowena, do something, Henry yelled hoarsely. Calm down, Henry, said Sam. None of us have had much experience with magic. May take a bit of time to figure something out. But I haven't got time, Henry said. I'm changing. Maybe I should go look for Thaddeus Blinn, said Rowena. Maybe he'd come back and revoke the wish. He's only been gone 2 days. He can't have gotten that far. No, said Sam with a shake of his head. A human couldn't go far, but Blinn seems to be a creature of magic. He could be on the far side of the moon by now. Then maybe Daddy or Mama could think of something. Most likely you'd just start worrying them and they'd be spreading word about Henry all over town, Sam replied. Then we'd have people milling around here and either laughing at Henry or else giving advice that isn't worth a hill of beans. I say we keep this to ourselves. Rowena, you were the one who took the card from Thaddeus Blinn and you made the wish on it, so you'll have to find a way to release Henry from the spell. Nobody else can do it for you. And hurry, Henry added. But I can't think of anything, said Rowena. Then the least we can do is make Henry comfortable till you come up with an idea, said Sam. Maybe if we pulled up the weeds around his feet, it'd help. Sam walked in a circle about Henry. Then he bent down and picked up a leather case from a clump of weeds. What's this? That's what I keep my catalog and order blanks in, Henry said. Don't you go opening that, Sam Waxman. All right, Henry. I'll just put it in the barn where it won't get wet. Rowena, you start pulling those weeds. As Sam left the clearing, Rowena began yanking at the weeds. Henry started giving orders like a slave driver. Don't get too close to my feet, Rowena. Take bigger handfuls, Rowena. Pile them over there, Rowena. There's one you missed, Rowena. Henry Piper, you shut your face, Rowena snapped suddenly. I'm doing the best I can. Don't you think I feel bad enough without you jawing at me all the time? You're to blame for me. I didn't mean for things to turn out this way. Henry, whatever happened to all the nice things you used to tell me about how pretty I was and all them fine places you visited? If I'm at all special to you, you shouldn't be carrying on this way, even if your feet are stuck to the ground. Special? That's a laugh. But the way you used to talk, I had to be special, Henry. Listen, Rowena Jervis, I'd have said you were Cleopatra or Queen of Sheba if that's what I had to do. Anything so you'd tell your papa how nice I was and I could sell him more machinery. Henry, you can't mean that. I do mean it. Fall in love with you. You think I'm an idiot? You're nothing but a silly, lovesick goose. And you are a worm, Henry Piper, Rowena cried out. If I'd have known for a second you didn't mean all those fine things you said, you'd never made a stupid wish, and I'd be free instead of stuck here talking to you. I'll get you free somehow, said Rowena through clenched teeth, if only to see you get aboard that train headed out of town forever. But until I get you loose, you've got to care for me, Rowena. You've got to do anything I want. But only until I find a way to remove the spell. After that, well, you just better watch out, Henry Piper. Sam walked back into the clearing. He carried a paper sack, a bucket of water, and a small spade. He took a handful of powder from the bag and sprinkled it around Henry's feet. This is stuff to make trees grow, he said. Sam worked the ground up with the spade. Finally, he poured the water over Henry's shoes. Oh, Henry moaned with contentment. That feels real good, Sam. See, Rowena? Sam knows how to treat me properly. Sam, did you hear what Henry was saying? He didn't mean a single one of all those fine things he used to tell me. I never figured he did, Sam replied. But if I'd said so, you wouldn't have listened. You had to learn for yourself. Here's something else to keep in mind now that you know what Henry's really like. The sooner you think of a way to wish the spell off him, the sooner he'll be out of your life for good. So put your whole mind to it, Rowena. Me, I've got farm work to do. I'll leave you two alone. Rowena stayed with her unwelcome guest until late that evening, taking only time for supper. In spite of Sam's confidence that she'd find a way to free Henry, she kept thinking about how he might never get loose. She'd have to spend the rest of her life caring for that ignoramus who'd become rooted in her backyard. 2 days ago, she'd wanted more than anything for Henry to remain in Coventry. Now she couldn't stand the sight of him. The next morning at breakfast, Rowena's mother had a question. What's so all-fired interesting about that clump of trees out there and back? She asked. You're spending a lot of time there, child. It's a fine place to study, Mama, she said. This week we have to get ready for tests at school. Just don't get studying so hard you forget about the Haskell's party tonight. Everybody in your class will be there. The party! With all the trouble Henry'd given her, Rowena had forgotten all about it. But how could she go? Henry needed caring for, and she had to... I just wish he'd dry up and blow away, she cried. Then Rowena stomped out of the kitchen, leaving her mother to wonder what in tarnation she was talking about. Rowena just had to talk to somebody. She found Sam in the barn and poured out to him her disappointment at missing the Haskell's party. Much to her surprise, Sam needed to understand. Sam seemed to understand. You go along to your party, he told her. I'll stay with Henry this evening. Though I warn you, Rowena, if he gets to complaining too much, I intend to stuff a rag in his mouth and stomp it home with my foot. That evening, the Haskell house was all decorated with Japanese lanterns and paper streamers. Everybody seemed to be having fun. Everybody but Rowena. She had on her prettiest dress, and all her friends from school were there, but it was impossible for her to enjoy the party. She still felt guilty about leaving Sam to take her proper place in the grove of trees. She was sitting in a corner and staring at her shoes when Ruth Higgins and Minnie Baldwin walked by. Minnie was talking a mile a minute, and Rowena heard her mention Adam Fisk. Rowena remembered Adam sitting on the far end of the bench in Thaddeus Blynn's tent, leaning forward. She cupped her hand behind her ear. All spraying, way up into the air, right there at the corner of Adam's house, Minnie was saying. Ruth, I don't care what folks say about there being no water on the Fisk farm. My daddy saw it, I tell you. Underground springs sometimes do that, Ruth replied. Not like this. Daddy said it was magic. Magic? Then Adam must have been wishing too, Rowena thought. But water? On that dried out Fisk farm? If that's what Adam wished for, he was lucky. At least he got something useful from his wish. After the party, Mr. Haskell took Rowena and several of the others home in his big wagon. It's all dark at your place, he told Rowena when he reached the Jervis house. You want me to see you to the door? No, thanks. I'll be fine. Rowena hopped down from the wagon and made her way across the lawn to the front porch. She grasped the knob of the front door. Suddenly, the old rocking chair at the far end of the porch creaked loudly. Who's there? She called, scared stiff. Only me, Sam. She heard footsteps coming across the porch, and then he was standing beside her. I reckon you better take a look at Henry, Sam said. It's a lot worse than we ever figured on. It's happening faster now. What's worse? She asked as they walked through the darkness toward the grove of trees. What's happening faster? You'll see. Once inside the grove, Sam lit the lantern and held it up. There was Henry, but it was a Henry that Rowena hardly recognized. I'd say he looks like a tree. The rough bark that had been around his ankles now covered his whole body, clear up to the chin. But that wasn't all. Now his arms were thrust stiffly upward and outward, for all the world like gnarled limbs of wood. As Sam held the lantern closer, Rowena was horrified. Sam, she said in a scared whisper. He's almost like a real tree. Only Henry's face showed that the thing growing there was, or had once been, human. And even that was twisted into a shape like weather-worn wood. The expression on it was one of pure horror. The lips moved, but only a soft sighing came from them. Rowena leaned closer. There was the merest whisper of breath from the open mouth. There were words, too, words that made Rowena shiver in the warm spring night. Help me! Help me! And Henry Piper's cries for help ends our chapter. We have one more. Yeah, a few more pages here, and then we'll go on to the next part of our story. Interesting, Henry is a tree. Well, thanks for joining me this morning. I hope you all have a great weekend. It's going to rain this weekend, so find something warm inside to do. I think I'm going to play some video games and maybe play on my guitar. So I hope you have fun doing whatever it is that you're doing, and have a fantastic day.